Okay, in today's video, we're going to discuss the top 5 strategies to investing with Ulti and YMAX. These are dividend funds by Yieldmax that help us earn over $800,000 per year in dividends, almost $900,000 per year in dividends. We're going to talk the top 5 strategies that I've been hearing around YouTube for playing Ulti and YMAX for retirement. These funds help me live financially free from 9 to 5. They help me outperform. The markets were up 22% for the year, almost 23%, whereas the S&P is only up 8%. So in comparison to the S&P, the NASDAQ, even the Russell up 5%, we're up 23%, beating all of the indexes, living financially free out of our brokerage accounts using Yieldmax and margin, which you can see here. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at aikentod48@gmail.com or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas. Okay, we're leading the FIRE movement here, as I always say. You can learn more about me on my website, on my About Me page here. You can also see all the testimonials that my wonderful members have left, okay, when it comes to my e-guides and the Discord community that we have started. All right, and also just a quick update, my price increases are going into effect today, all right, the end of the weekend, Labor Day weekend, okay? So as of tonight, I'll be raising all my prices on my e-guides and my bundles because I can't take the volume of calls anymore. Giving my number away free for so long was crazy, but we started something here at YouTube, and I wanted to build my credibility. Now we have established that. We've been here for 2 to 3 years, beating the markets each of the last 3 years. I've always beaten the markets with my strategies, and we're going to talk about some of those strategies today, of course. But with YouTube, I've been doing it for 3 years, okay, with using real strategies, okay, and beating the market. You know, the year before last, we were at 50%. Last year, we were up in the 40s. And then this year, we were up 25%. Now we're up 23%. So even though these charts decline, as you've seen, you know, with an Ulti chart or a Yieldmax chart or a Cornerstone chart, you can still get ahead and beat the markets. And not only beat the markets, but live free out of your brokerage account, okay? Because you use the power of equity, which again, we're going to discuss today, okay? We have 5 strategies that we're going to go over. And again, I hear these strategies all the time on YouTube, starting with number 1, how about just go all in on Ulti, okay? So I've been having some issues with this because going all in on Ulti and YMAX, all right, we've been talking about this. Look, we were down 20,000 on Friday, okay? But that's 0.83%. If you look above, that beat the NASDAQ, which is down negative 1%, okay? And if we were to duplicate this tab and go to my accounts page, my complete overview, factoring in margin, you'll see that we were down 1.09. We still beat the NASDAQ, okay? The NASDAQ was down 1.15. We were down 1.09 once again, okay? So I'll take my video off so you can see here. So even with margin, we outperformed the market, okay? This $573,000 in margin debt. This is why I started my YouTube channel. Other people can make channels like me and try to clone my channel and do things that they've been doing, which is like pretty sick in my opinion, you know, just not even giving credit to what I do. And I don't mind. My members know and they support me, but and you know, for everyone else who wants to do these strategies, you know, all the power to them. But we were the first. And it doesn't matter who the first was. What matters is that I have my experience to go along with this strategy. Okay, I've been investing for 20 years, and traveling the world while investing in the market is what helped me hone these strategies over a 20-year time period. Investing is all psychology. It's not even, you know, who knows the most about Ulti or, you know, what does YMAX do, and they just want to tell you what YMAX does, or, you know, what the yield is for Ulti or something like that. These take a strategy, okay? I don't know about other YouTubers just, you know, making videos for views and selling their kinds of services for God knows whatever they do. For me, this is about just a 20-year time period for me of honing my experiences in the markets, traveling in all kinds of places where when we had a recession, for example, in 2016, you know, the pigs crisis, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain. I remember being in Italy during that time and, you know, buying the dips because I saw how business was moving as usual. I talk about that all the time in my e-guides, you know, the Milan story. So what about going all in on Ulti? Again, I have an issue with this. I mean, some YouTubers are big into the strategy. Some of my members echo these sentiments in the Discord chat room, which we have a Discord chat room here. If no one knows, it has over 2,500 members here. It's one of the greatest Discord communities in the world, in my opinion. And we have all kinds of good stuff here. You know, it's just a wealth of information, honestly. And most people say it's like a fire hose of, you know, information, all just, you know, the most precious gems you can find in investing. How to get ahead with loans is a big thing for us. You know, we have a channel on that. We have, you know, everything else you can think of here, a Yieldmax channel. And, you know, a lot of members are big into YMAX and Ulti. They go all in on YMAX and Ulti. But the issue I have with that, and I know many of my members, you know, are aware of this, is, for example, with Ulti, we have a 91% dividend yield, which is great. I keep a good amount of my portfolio in Ulti as well. I love Ulti, and we're up 13%, you know, since inception with Ulti, according to Yieldmax's website. So I understand you putting a lot of your money into Ulti because it is diversified. If you look at the holdings, we've shown these in the past. The holdings for Ulti are quite diversified, but they're not numerous enough in diversification to matter. I mean, the S&P 500 is 500 names. Okay, go to Ulti right here and you'll see less than 200. All right, and you know, again, there's still a lot of diversification in here. Look at, you know, you have Tesla, you have Upstart, you have SMCI. But these are high beta, okay? So the issue I have with Ulti is it's not only its lack of diversification, even though it is diversified, the high beta, of course, and you have the big drops in Ulti, okay? Look at what Ulti did on Friday, for example. It wasn't a huge drop, but Ulti was down 1.39, and the NASDAQ was down 1.15. Now, you have to factor in ex-dividend dates and things like that for Ulti. So, you know, that will add to losses on a given day. But we saw on the week before last week, Ulti was down 3% when the market was down 1%. And we all got our big reality check there with Ulti. We saw this drop right here. Look on a 1-month chart. This drop right here was pretty substantial. And if you have all your money in this, what's going to happen is you're going to just see a huge drawdown in your account. And then you're going to make it back in part because you're going to get the dividends back. Our dividends of over $900,000 per year will pay back my margin debt in less than 1 year. Okay, not over 900. It was over 900. We're at 887 right now, give or take, around 900,000, and that pays back our margin debt. So we're getting these dividends from Ulti. Even though we saw that drawdown, our dividends are paying back my margin. So there's no risk there with margin. I'm just getting ahead with debt because this is how the greats get ahead. They use debt. Okay, especially low interest debt. I've negotiated my rates down twice. Many of my members were able to negotiate the rates down as well. You don't have to negotiate your rates down because the yields we're getting are still more than what we're charged here at E-Trade. I think I was charged 12% originally. Now I'm under 5%. Like many of my members, they're in between 5 and 10. Again, when you buy my e-guides, you get my number, so I text you that script. Okay, but I've been very busy with getting to the scripts. I've had so many requests with my scripts lately, and I'm getting all kinds of questions on top of the script, so I have to answer all the questions in my text first, because if I answer the questions about the script, I'll never get out of my phone, and then I'll never get to anyone else above who actually has a real question, you know, pertaining to their portfolio or something like that. I don't give advice, I just share what works with me. So I'm getting overloaded here, but nonetheless, I'll get to all my members who, you know, requested the script. I've got you covered. Don't worry. Just give me some time. And so that's how I've negotiated my rates down twice, and I share that with you. Also, next month, I'll be taking my number away, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. The most important thing everyone needs to know is today is the last day for the price, you know, the prices as they currently are. Then I'm going to have to increase them because I just don't have the time to manage all of these phone calls once again. So if our rates are low, and it doesn't matter if the rates are high or low, in my opinion, it's all about, can we just pay down our margin fast enough? Okay, so rates become negligible at that point. And our margin's coming down so fast, thanks to our huge amount of dividends, that there's really no risk for me when it comes to using margin. The risk is in the underlyings of what I'm holding, not the margin. And what I'm holding is Ulti, for example, and Ulti has big drawdowns. So again, what's going to happen is you're going to see a major drawdown in your account. You're going to get some dividends back, but we could also get a dividend cut, and we don't want something like that because in a bear market, when we get the dividends cut, then we're going to be all in on something, and then we're going to be down big as the market falls. We'll be down big. The dividends will get smaller and smaller. You're still going to make up all of your dividends over time, and you're going to cash flow over time, Of course, but in the meantime, you've lost a lot of progress in your account. Okay, you made it to a great amount in your account. Maybe you made it to $1 million or something. You know, I went from 15,000 to 100,000, and then when I went to Europe, okay, in 2023, I was at like 100 or 200,000. Y'all can see my videos from 2023, and then we were in Yieldmax at that time, and we didn't have Ulti at that time. But we were in other Yieldmax names, and I saw how huge the drawdowns were for my account then. And I had to have a major reality check then, and I was able to get through all of that the entire market correction in that time period in 2023. We were able to get through it because we played Cornerstone properly, and we'll get to that, you know, towards the end of the video. But I've seen the drawdowns. I can't unknow these drawdowns, okay? I've seen them in Yieldmax, and I saw them the other day with Ulti. And here's the other thing with Ulti, it's 50% maintenance, all right? So I don't care where you're at, okay? 50% maintenance is pretty good for something as high beta as Ulti, but it's also quite risky in the sense that it's sucking up your equity. For every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power, okay? I was just discussing this with one member on Discord today, all right? Some people are just in disbelief that when you get $1 here at your account, you get $4 of purchasing power. That's why I had to start this channel, this YouTube channel. I didn't see anyone else talking about margin until I came onto the scene. And it's just amazing that you don't have to have a background check or an application or a credit check to do margin. You can control your own destiny from your own brokerage, not even a Roth or something like that. And so we would have, you know, around, let's say with 2 million account value, 1.8 million, we would have, with 2 million, we would have 8 million purchasing power. But I've used so much, obviously, in margin that I'm down to 1.9 purchasing power. Okay, that's fine. I don't like to use all the purchasing power. You have to have a balance of using margin without the risk while your dividends pay them down. And then you use the other portion of your equity with low maintenance names to increase your buying power and lower your risk for a margin call. Okay, and Ulti is 50% maintenance, whereas I anchor in Cornerstone, as y'all know, CRF, which has 30% maintenance. And if you go to another broker that has, you know, lower maintenance for Ulti, you know, don't get yourself in a trap and buy more just because it has lower maintenance. Again, the drawdowns are big, and when you have more margin, then you're just going to see a bigger drawdown, and then your whole plan was to pay down that margin with the Ulti dividends, and then they fall because Ulti dividends could get cut in a downturn. Most things will lose volatility, lose premiums, and then you'll lose your dividend, and then you won't be able to pay down your margin as fast. Meanwhile, your account's falling fast because the market's falling fast, and Ulti's falling 3 times what the market's doing, let's say. And you're in 50% maintenance if you're at something like E-Trade on top of that. So you could have lower maintenance, but you would just, and you use more another broker, but you're just magnifying your loss, as I just explained. But even at something like an E-Trade, if you're using less with Ulti, well, you have to use less because it's 50% maintenance, and Cornerstone is 30% maintenance. So that's why I'm doing so well in my account and not falling so hard in a downturn, because as I showed you, we outperform the market on a down day on Friday, thanks to Cornerstone and watching my maintenance with my allocations, okay? If you need help with maintenance, that's in volume 3. Cornerstone is 30% maintenance, and it's the index, and it has a 20% dividend, and it drips at the NAV, so we're getting these gains every month, okay? 19% gains every month on top of the 21% dividend that it's set at every year at its NAV. So it's the highest index, you know, highest paying dividend for an index fund that I can find. And you're not only getting the 20% dividend, you're getting this drip at the NAV every month. Ask any of my members in the chat. All of my members know who are in Cornerstone that this drip is real, okay? This Cornerstone NAV drip thing is real, okay? And please, again, confirm in the chat, everyone, you know, how you're feeling about Cornerstone. It's not like I get paid by any of these funds. I just found Cornerstone. It moves up with the market. Okay, Cornerstone, look at this chart of Cornerstone right here. CLM was down 0.25 on Friday, and the market was down 0.64. NASDAQ was down 1.15. The Dow was down 0.20. CLM was down 0.25. And, you know, it has this 20% dividend. So we're getting days gains with Cornerstone. We've seen Cornerstone be up a percent or two. You see my account be up 50,000 or so on a given up day. And then on a given down day, you see my account only be down 20,000. We're going to be up and down with the market. The market has ebbs and flows. We just want to be down around what the indexes are down, considering the fact that we're using so much margin. Okay, 573,000 of margin debt right now. We didn't get our dividends this weekend because it was a holiday weekend, but that would have fallen substantially this weekend had we gotten those dividends. But anyway, and then my account grows by the amount of those dividends that come in. So my margin goes down and my account goes up. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's kind of like real estate when you use the equity to remodel your house instead of pulling the equity out and spending it elsewhere. So it's the same thing. I keep my dividends in the account. But Cornerstone, I drip for that special advantage, okay, because you're getting the 19% gain every month. In 2021, we got 40% plus gains every month on top of the 20% dividend, on top of the day's gains. And then on top of that, on top of the fact that you're minimizing your volatility on a down day, unlike with what Ulti can do and YMAX can do, Cornerstone usually is down less than the market on a down day. And in addition to all those perks I just gave you with Cornerstone that no other fund has out there like Cornerstone, in addition to that, you have the rights offering opportunity, okay, the RO. And Cornerstone, here it is, 4-star fund on Morningstar. That's why it's 4-star, and it moves upper, left, or right, okay, because you have to factor back in dividends. And with Cornerstone, look at this low here, this high to low. All right, we sold out at exactly this time because of the Cornerstone rights offering announcement here at Discord, okay? That's the main reason why we're here at this Discord, okay? Most of my members join Discord so they can get the Cornerstone rights offering announcement, okay? We got the rights offering announcement and we got the N2 filing, and this is what dropped the stock was the N2, but we are already moving out of this Cornerstone because we talk about how to play Cornerstone in volume 4. All right, when your premiums are higher, we're already unloading here. So when we had this drop, it was easy for me to sell the rest. Okay, and I boxed Cornerstone at the highs and made money going down as well, all right, which we talk about in volume 5. In volume 5, we talk about all of my hedges, including how to box Cornerstone. So if you play Cornerstone properly around the premium thresholds, which we talk about all the time at Discord and in volume 4, then you could potentially level up even faster, because that's how I got my account from 15,000 up to 100,000 and then eventually a million. I took about 500,000 in loans, okay? Gradually I would take loans here and there. But the way I got from, 15,000 back to 1.8 up to 1.8 million is because of Cornerstone, okay? And the triple C's, of course, the triple C's, which we'll talk about in 1 second here. And you can control your destiny with margin and Cornerstone, since you can play it properly around the rights offerings, whereas the S&P and NASDAQ don't tell you when to buy and sell like Cornerstone does. They also tell you when to buy, when the RO is over. All right, so this is how I did it. This is how I really leveled up. And this is how sending my members, so many of them, are getting outperformance in their accounts. Just check out the chat. I'm sure some of them would be happy to share with you, how they've been doing in their account, okay? Just wait for it. We'll get to the chat in 1 second. I can't wait to get to all of your questions, okay? So that was the first strategy, all right? The first strategy is go all in on Ulti and YMAX. Well, I just explained here, why you can't do that. And YMAX did well on Friday, down 0.70, whereas the NASDAQ was down 1.15. It was in between the NASDAQ and the S&P, which is exactly what we want. But again, YMAX is similar. It's going to have big drawdowns because Yieldmax falls by the amount of the underlyings, but it doesn't rise by the amount of the underlyings. That's a key point with Yieldmax, okay? They fall pretty much by the amount of the underlyings, but they will not rise by the amount of the underlyings. Look at this fall, okay? It falls with the market, but it does not rise back up necessarily. It will if it never had a dividend. It would rise back with the market mostly, depending on the holdings within YMAX. But it obviously has its dividend, okay? It's 44% dividend for YMAX, and the holdings are, mostly Mag 7, and there are a lot of high-quality names within YMAX, but you still have those speculative holdings being added to YMAX, which you have to watch out for. Speculative names like Coney is in the S&P now, so you can't call that speculative. You have Babo, which is, that's going to be up huge, by the way, tomorrow, because we had the pop today with earnings. And even though on a Monday the market's closed, go look at what Babo is doing. And also, you have things like Hui. You have Carvana right here. So these things are speculative, and they're going to affect the beta of YMAX as well. So you can't go all in YMAX and Ulti, because your account will be down huge on a given down day, even though YMAX is down less than Ulti sometimes on a major down day. So you can't do that, all right? You have to anchor in Cornerstone, because Cornerstone not only is the index in total, Cornerstone is the index, unlike with YMAX. It tries to be like the index, but it's not. It's just a fund of funds. Cornerstone is the index with all the perks that I gave you, and it has the 30% maintenance to anchor yourself into, whereas, again, YMAX and Ulti are both 50% maintenance, okay? So be careful with YMAX and Ulti going all in for those 2 reasons, okay? Not only do you have the big draw, 3 reasons. You have the big drawdowns, you have the dividend cuts with the drawdowns, and then you have the higher maintenance. And if you go to other places with higher maintenance, lower maintenance, you're just going to, shoot yourself in the foot if you use more margin to buy those funds, especially when you get the dividends cut and that cannibalizes your account, okay? So maintenance is the key to everything. Again, if you need help understanding maintenance, that's in my Volume 3 e-guide on how to use margin. Okay, so what about the second strategy, all right? The second strategy that I hear people talk about all the time with YouTube when it's pertaining to YMAX and Ulti, that is use the wheel strategy, okay? Come on, guys. Everyone's saying, this wheel strategy is fantastic. I mean, we're selling options. And, a lot of YouTubers like to claim they're selling calls and they're selling puts and they're making money. But I can't stand the wheel strategy, okay? I've made videos about this in the past, because if you're selling covered calls, for example, covered calls, okay, you get a little premium when you sell a little covered call. I get that. But then you have the underlying risk that could still fall, okay? So if you have to, let's say, sell a call on, I don't know, Amazon. A lot of people like to pick stocks that have a lot of volatility when they sell options. They don't even want to do the index, so it doesn't have enough volatility. So they'll go to a stock. And we've done very well in Amazon recently, as y'all know, with Yieldmax's, AMZ, and then all the other vehicles that we use. All of my members know this who follow my portfolio. So they'll sell options on something like Amazon. Okay, sell a covered call. All right, or on NVIDIA or something. But the problem with that is that you only get a little bit of premium for your sold call, and then you have to still own the stock because it's covered. It's a covered call. It's not naked like I do my puts. I do naked puts, which sounds riskier, but it's not. You have to be covered in other words, the broker has to be covered for you to sell a call. So you could get your little premiums once again in something like an Amazon or a Tesla, okay? But you run the risk of not only the stock falling, and you can't really sell the shares because you'll be, you'd have to close the call, and then you still have all that underlying risk. You don't want to do that. You can't sell at a loss. And if the market goes higher, you could get called away from something like Tesla. So you'd have to pick a sweet spot of something that, that has enough premium where it won't necessarily get called away in a short amount of time. And when you go shorter in time with selling calls, people, then you get less premiums. So when you get less premiums when you're selling calls in that regard, or when you're selling puts, okay, and you go shorter time frame to have more control. People always ask me, Todd, why do you sell such long-term puts here? Why do you do that? Why not have more control and sell short-term puts? Because you don't get any premiums for short-term puts, and then you have to sell more to matter. When you sell more puts to matter because they have a small premium, now you're giving yourself exponential more risk because you have more contracts, which gives you more assignment risk. And then you're also just giving yourself more beta risk, more volatility, more total volatility in the account, because every one contract is 100 shares that you're controlling. And this is like heavy stuff here. And so you're selling puts on a lot of contracts, giving you a lot of assignment risk, giving you a lot more volatility. If the market falls, you're screwed, because I've seen one guy lose $2 million on selling 0 DTE puts or puts that are going to expire in a week or two. And most of all, you're sucking up your equity when you're doing this. How are you living freely out of your brokerage account? I just want to know this. If for every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power. Chat, please help me out. How are you living out of your account if you're selling a bunch of options? It sucks up all of your available withdrawal. We just talked about that with maintenance, okay? Selling options also requires maintenance, okay? And I just schooled you on how maintenance works, okay, for the most part. And if you have questions, call me anytime. You have my number with the e-guides. So if you have maintenance being sucked up with your options. How can you sell enough options and then still live freely out of your account? I would really like to know this. I use my E-Trade card. I swipe it. I go wherever I want in this world. I travel the world with my E-Trade checking card. Okay, it's a debit card, and my account acts kind of like a checking account. And I just add to my margin. Okay, I add to my margin, and then my dividends pay it back at the end of the week. But if I were selling a bunch of options, okay, on short-term things, elevating my risk, elevating my volatility, on a down day, I'm going to lose a bunch of equity alone on a down day because the volatility is higher with short-term puts, okay? I'm going to lose a bunch of equity on one down day, and then I can't withdraw out of my account and pay my bills. All of my bills and all my credit card bills, anything you can think of is tied to my E-Trade account, okay? I use the credit cards, obviously. I get points for credit cards. I was just talking with a member today before the video. And then E-Trade pays off my credit card bills, of course. But everything is coming out of my account ultimately with E-Trade, okay? The car loan that I got, I showed them my dividends. I used my dividends to get my car, which I'm about to get another car very soon because I have to offset these taxes, that we have with our dividends. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something to offset my taxes, so I'm thinking about buying another car, but that's neither here nor there. I qualify with my car because of my dividends, all right? And I can't, therefore, withdraw out of my account and do anything more if I have all my equity sucked up. Equity is the most important thing out there, people. It's how you get ahead with a house. It's how you get ahead with a corporation is having equity, and then you're your own corporation. You have your own equity. As a sole proprietor, you're your own business. When you day trade like I do, I don't day trade, of course. I just collect dividends. I buy the best entry. I use the best entry points as I can for my dividend buys for the long term. I think that's why members like, following my trades, quote unquote, but they're not trades. They're just long-term buys. And so I'm able to do all of this because my equity is high. It's the most important thing in life, I found. The secret of equity. Even in the Bible, they talk about equity, okay? Go look those lines up if you don't believe me. And also in the Bible, God believes in abundance and wealth and you just living your best life. Go look at the parable of talents. And we talk about the Bible so much in these lives. But equity is everything, all right? And if you're selling all these puts, I can't stress it enough, then you're sucking up all of your equity, increasing your risk, increasing your assignment risk, increasing your risk of being house called or margin called, even if you don't use margin, because you're sucking up all of your equity with puts. So I cannot stand other YouTubers talking about it because it might work in a bull market somewhat. You might make a little bit of money with these little premiums, but you have to sell a lot more in contracts to actually make a difference. Now you're putting yourself at real risk. That's with the put side. On the call side, again, you're putting yourself at major risk because you're owning the shares, which could fall, and then all you do is collect your little premium, or they could shoot up ahead of you because we like these exciting names like Bitcoin names, for example, like the Mag 7. They could rocket up, and then you could get called away. I can't tell you how many members I've had call me and be like, man, I'm so ticked off that I didn't sell the puts like you sell puts. Instead, I sold calls, and I have to get called away, especially on our triple C strategy, which we'll talk about in 1 second. So the way I sell puts is the only way, in my opinion, to not only get more performance, that's how we're getting our outperformance, but it's how we're lowering our margin by 50 to 100,000 by the click of a mouse, okay? With BitX here, we just lowered our margin by 20,000 in this one tranche here with these 5 contracts. And I'm taking into account assignment risk and the fact that my cost basis is so low, the assignment risk, the assignment possibility is so low as well. But if I got assigned, that's what I want. These are factored in to become long-term buys after I'm assigned, whereas the way they sell 0DT puts, no one's trying to be assigned to that. People are trying to run from assignment, but when you sell puts, you're supposed to want assignment, okay? And so I get the extra performance, lower my margin, lower my interest, and then get more gains on the upside if we get assigned. If we don't get assigned, I just keep the premiums. And then we can either take the day's gains or premiums. The day's gains show 0 right now because it's a weekend. I can take either the day's gains or the premiums. There are no such things as losses here on these vehicles right here. With CLSK, that's a Bitcoin miner. You never know what could happen with that. But with these other plays, I generally stay indexed, okay? And with these index plays, if indexes go up 7 to 10% per year, it's really hard to lose in these puts. You're just selling time, okay? And I'm not worried about anything else, all right? And so it's a very low risk way to play the market, selling options, and anyone else who's doing the wheel in any other way, I don't understand them. And how are you getting ahead just buying stocks, trading stocks? 90% of people lose. I just sell time on my puts, let them go by, and then we win. Okay, look at these gains in BidX, and we've already had so many other gains that we've closed out recently, and that was just by letting them go. You just sell the time on quality indexes. There's an art to doing it, to picking your strikes at the opportune places on the charts, which I talk all about in volume 6. All right, so let's move on to the next strategy, okay? So again, the strategies that I'm using here, I see your message, Harry. Thank you so much, Harry. The strategies that I'm using here, all right, they're to not only outperform the markets and live freely out of your account, but they are to ensure that you don't get margin called and put yourself at unnecessary risk. You want to stay retired. And again, you want to preserve as much equity as you can. So we're outperforming the market, getting days gains and dividends and preserving our equity all in one system, which again, no one's really talking about on YouTube. And if they are, it's because they're watching my channel, and that's cool. If they're doing that, then I hope they're echoing what we're doing and teaching more people to do that. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, but what I don't like to see are other YouTubers peddling, covered call strategies, the wheel strategies, not really showing you how to live with a total approach out of your account using the wheel. It's just one aspect, which is cool. I've done the wheel before, but when you're putting it when you're trying to go the furthest with the wheel and really go all the way with it, because I like to go all the way with something that works, then you find the wheel is too risky on the call side and the put side. The way I do the puts is the only way to do it without the risk. Okay, and we just talked about that for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, moving on. What about the third strategy? Okay, how about the Yieldmax dividend capture strategy? All right, people buying and selling around the dividend X dates. I can't stand it. I don't know why they do it. Please opine, chat, if you can. Buying before the X date and then selling after the X date, it's almost a zero-sum game because the stock drops by the amount of the dividend. So if you're able to do that, kudos to you. Some people are able to time this and swing trade these and do it in a way that it works for them, but 90% of people lose. So I would say that's a very active strategy, not passive. I like to just collect my dividends, nothing else, and just get days gains without trying. Or if it's a down market, we lose money, but we try to perform in line with the index. We actually beat the index on Friday, even with this margin level, this elevated margin level, okay? We're talking over 600,000 when you factor back in my options, because my options pay down my margin leverage. So when you're talking about dividend capture strategies, it's a trading strategy. I like passive without trying. I like collecting my dividends without trying. I like getting my day's gains without trying. You saw that we're up 50,000, 30,000, 20,000, in the prior days leading up to the down 20,000 day, okay? And, I do this without trying. We're getting days gains of a day trader without having to look for the next trade, which I think is great. I don't like doing the div capture strategy. I just rebalance around my highs and lows with Yieldmax, and all my members know this. I send out text all the time when I'm making my moves, okay, when I'm rebalancing these Yieldmax plays. All right, so we can't do the dividend capture strategy, all right, because 90% of traders lose. That's very active. I like passive, and I think most of my members do too, because a lot of them want to retire and just do what they love. They don't want to be hands-on in the market so much. Okay, how about number 4, just throwing darts at a board, all right? I think most members on YouTube are just throwing darts at a board. They see who has the highest yield that week. They see who, had a big move and they're chasing momentum or something, and they're just kind of throwing darts at a board for who has what yield this week and what they think can work this week. The only time when I make my Yieldmax buys, I'm never throwing darts at a board. I might make a lot of trades, but I'm never throwing darts at a board because it's part of a comprehensive strategy and we're following the indexes. So when I'm matching the indexes and mirroring these index plays, especially with the weightings, and I'm doing it at opportune times, which I alert my members of, well, then it's, that's how you outperform. That's how you run money. And that's how you have a total strategy. You already have the names and you just buy and sell them as needed, okay? And that gets me to my 5th point. Okay, my 5th point, these are the top 5 strategies that I can think of that I see everyone else using. And if you think of anything else that I'm leaving out, please leave it in the chat, everyone. But the 5th strategy, okay, that I see on YouTube quite often is in addition to the dividend capture strategy and trying to get the most gains, and then in addition to just throwing darts at a board, okay, they're trying to perhaps combine with a QQQI or an SPYI or a Schwab D, okay, to balance their holdings out. And I get that, okay? You want to take your YMAX and your Ultis and all that, and you want to balance it with something like a Schwab D or QQQI or IQQ. But those just pale in comparison to Cornerstone, first of all. The QQQIs, the Schwab Ds of the world, they're an index play, kind of like Cornerstone, but they don't have the yield. They don't have the special drip at NAV. They don't have the RO opportunity, which telegraphs you when to buy and sell. They don't have the day's gains ability, quite frankly, that Cornerstone has, even a QQI. Cornerstone can move up sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8% in one day, depending on where it is around its premium levels, if you play Cornerstone properly, which we already discussed. So I think that those are inferior strategies to getting ahead with Yieldmax, using a Schwab D, QQI, SPYI. You know, I put it in Cornerstone and the triple C's. The triple C's are how we made all this money recently. Go check out, you know, when the market crashed and, you know, from the Trump tariffs, go check out how we performed during that time. We outperformed even with all this margin leverage. And then we used the triple C's going down. Yes, I used the triples, which are, you know, triple leverage ETFs. And I used Cornerstone going down, and I deleveraged out of other things to get into the triple C's, which we did in percentages of the portfolio, which I talk all about in Volume 7. Volume 7 is not only how you deleverage and unwind your risk in a down market, but it's how you bounce back in an up market, okay, and you get the maximum amount of capital gains, all right? I know one guy who's probably watching this, you know, and he doesn't say anything about it. It's pretty sick. I'm sure he was watching because I saw him post about, you know, reading a book on TQQQ and QQQ. And it's like, all right, that's the book he's reading. Well, that sounds like my, an idea similar to mine, but it's not nearly as comprehensive as the way I use the triple C's. All right, that book I can already tell you just from looking at the title, TQQ and QQQ. I'm using a whole list of funds in Volume 7 to get the maximum amount of daily gains and dividends. Okay, and once again, anyone who's trying to, you know, circumvent my strategies or do something similar with the wheel or with other little strategies with Schwab D or whatever, none of them are as viable as my strategies. You've seen the day's gains that we can make on a daily basis. You've seen how we lose less on a daily basis in many cases. And then we have the dividends on top of that. All right. So we can get best of both worlds without even trying, thanks to the triple C's approach, which is what got me from 15,000 again to this point. All right. From 15,000 to 100 and then 100 to 1.8. You know, it's with loans, and the majority of it being the triple C's and loans. Yieldmax and those funds were great too. They helped me get more performance, no doubt about it. I use Yieldmax, Roundhill, Defiance, all of them. They have helped. But as far as getting the day's gains at the level that we're getting, that's the triple C's. And, you know, as far as, you know, shielding our accounts when we fall, how we're outperforming in a down market, that's basically Cornerstone. And we talked all about that today in this video. All right, so let me go ahead and get to the chat. If this Q&A is too long, then I'll go ahead and edit this out, and we'll discuss, you know, I'll take all of your questions, by the way, if I can't get to all of them, and we'll get to them in the next video. So anyway, I just want to say hey to everyone. First of all, once again, if you need help doing what I'm doing, living financially free out of our brokerage accounts using Yieldmax and margin, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com, or head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com, where we're leading the FIRE movement. All right, check out all my testimonials. Check out what we did in New York. Check out my About Me, okay, what we did, you know, in that recent Bloomberg article, etc., etc. And now I want to, again, get to my members who have made this whole thing possible, okay, our wonderful community that we have started here, okay? My members told me to write the e-guides. They told me to start the Discord chat room, okay? And now, you know, and they also told me to set up this service where I could go live and they could follow my portfolio. So we're here now, and I can't wait to see y'all. Hey, Chris. Hey, Frosty Dog. Frosty Dog, thank you so much for everything, even today's message, you know, for straightening out that 4-to-1 question on margin. Everyone gets 4-to-1. That's why it's so great. It's so democratic. Everyone gets access to margin, okay? There's no discrimination, and everyone can get ahead and live financially free. All right, and my admin like Frosty and Jetta I can't thank y'all enough. Gaines, Hashor, Gaines for installing the rights offering announcement in our Discord chat room. Hashor, for all the experience. Ray, okay, Paul, I can't thank y'all enough. Capital G, happy Monday. Good to see the whole Fire fam. Ricardo, I want to say ciao, Ricardo. Happy Monday to you. And I can't. Oh, let me get my video back up. Sorry. Hey, Ricardo, thanks for being there for me in the chat this weekend, and thanks for just all the support you've given, and that goes for all of my members, including Tom and Capital G. Happy Monday once again, Capital. And I saw your comment here that you really enjoyed the spot on covered call ETF investing. Pretty sure that's what it's called. Reading volume 7, you said, for the second time. Okay, glad you're reading that again, Capital G. Too much great info to absorb in one reading. Thanks again, Capital G. Thanks for all of your support recently, Capital. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that too. All right, G for short. Thanks again, guys. Okay. Steffe, hey Todd, happy Labor Day. Just bought Cornerstone and called Schwab for the discount drip. All right, it should be there. If they don't allow it, then just call someone else and they will figure out. I think you can just toggle it yourself now, as we do at E-Trade. But Schwab has that special drip, so make sure you call back if they don't give it to you for whatever reason. Hey, Eve, great to see you, Eve. Widowmaker, you will buy Ulti when it actually goes up in share price. None of these are going to go up in share price, Widowmaker, because of dividends and how it works. But if you factor back in the dividends, you'll see that they actually do go up in share price. Look at the total returns for Ulti. It's 13%. Go look at YMAX, and you'll see the total return for YMAX is around 40%. Let's see what it was here. YMAX total returns, 42%. So you have to factor back in dividends. Same goes with Cornerstone. Okay, who's that? Hot Wheels. Okay, thanks again, Widowmaker. Okay, Hot Wheels. Hey, Breadman, what's up? Freddie, happy Labor Day. Great to see you, of course. Practical weight loss with Billy. I am beyond grateful that you are on YouTube. You are truly changing lives, Todd. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Joe, good afternoon to you, sir. Great to see you, Joe. Oh, man. Glad all my members are showing out today, and I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. Kind of dispelling the 5 strategies that I see around here with YouTube and Ulti and YMAX. And I also had in here 5 myths, like, people saying, share prices are too high, and, there's going to be some erosion because the share price is too high. I mean, what does that mean? You just factor in percentages and underlyings. Please correct that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Also, stock splits, compounding these Yieldmax dividends when you really can't compound in a down market. Talking about erosion in these funds, the myths of all these YouTubers saying erosion is poor in Yieldmax. I mean, factor back in dividends. Look, we're up 42% in YMAX. I just showed you. So I'm just trying to dispel the myths just then, and also I'm trying to poke holes in the strategies that I hear all the time around YouTube. It's very exhausting and annoying, quite frankly, because again, people are basing their financial futures on these videos that I think they think are reality in some cases. You watch the news, you watch YouTube, you think that that's what the nature of reality is. But I've actually traveled the world and invested through these ups and downs of the markets for 20 years. And, that's the real reality. It's not what the news is saying, because when they're saying Italy was going under from, all of its debt, I was in Italy at that time and they were doing just fine. Everyone was there was traffic everywhere. Everyone was going to work. I never noticed any recession. And so if you follow the news and if you follow other YouTube channels who, quite frankly, don't even have strategies or experience, they're just kind of starting a YouTube channel, and they might have a couple of little specialties that they do, maybe with selling options or conveying information or doing some edits with the video, but they don't have actual investing experience. That's a psychological journey that you have to have taken for so long to have the confidence in not only buying dips and selling rips and things like that, but constructing an entire portfolio, a total approach to living free out of your account. That just takes time. And so I'm not sure people understand that a lot of reality is just a YouTube video or the news, and that is not reality. You have to have a repentance, as it says in the Bible, which means a radical change of mind. You have to look at how making money is not linear necessarily, or not everything is what the news says, okay, or what a YouTube channel says, and that's definitely a fact there, okay? Some YouTube channels are great, but I never watch them, because how could any of them tell you anything? They don't know. No one knows the direction of the market, and I never claim to know the direction. I only prepare for both ways, because that's all you can do. That's what I've learned over 20 years. Just be ready for both scenarios. So we're just as objective as we can be here at my channel, and we're just taking what we're given, investing with the facts, investing with trial and error, never repeating mistakes that we made in the past, okay? And incorporating this into a total strategy. I think it's very important to say that, all right? What is reality? What's your nature of your reality, in my opinion, for your whole investment reality? Is it some YouTube videos and the news and maybe a couple of other figures you've heard on TV, or you've gossiped with some people at a table about stocks going up and down? Maybe that's not the entire, maybe that's the complete wrong way to approach making money, okay? And it should be more from the cash flow perspective, from the equity and margin perspective. Maybe not necessarily margin if you don't want, but I use margin because it's freely accessible. It's about using your equity, staying indexed, understanding that investing is life. You buy the dips, you don't fear the dips, but you have to manage your risk and your equity, and there's a system to doing what we do here. And again, I just don't know of any other YouTube channels that would do anything like that. And I just had to vent. I vented to my members about that. They also sell services, and their services are a lot more than mine. And I don't mean to go on the soapbox again, members, but it's important, because if you're selling services that don't really do anything for people, first of all, I'm trying to figure out where is my value when I'm, trying to navigate these YouTube, this YouTube journey that I'm on. What is the fair price for me to be selling my products and services at? And I find that I'm way underpriced. And then, because my members would tell me that, and then that made me go look at other members, other YouTube channels who were charging more, and they weren't offering anything. And then all of a sudden I started getting pretty sick to my stomach when I started seeing how everyone's following these YouTubers off a cliff. They don't have any actual investment experience in some cases, many cases, most cases. And they're charging, so much. And anyway, the only reason why I raised my prices recently is because I actually give my number to everyone. I actually talk to all of my members, okay, thousands of members. I talk to them. I'm here for all of them. I don't know any other YouTuber that does that. All right, AP, curious, how did you do during the tariff situation, Todd? Thanks for all your help, AP. Sorry, thanks for letting me vent, and I won't do it again. I promise. Okay. All right. I just think it's important that y'all know what y'all are really up against here. Okay. AP, we outperformed. Okay, we outperformed. You can see my past videos, AP, and then we definitely outperformed on the upside, because now we're up 22% and the market's only up 7%. Steph, you sold your Ulti and Misty. Like the index is better. Retiring next year. Need steady income that will last the rest of my life. Agreed to that, Stefan, 100%. You can't, have your account just be cannibalized all in one fell swoop like that. I do believe in Ulti and Misty and YMAX, but I think that they need to be managed position size wise and put in a total balance, a total approach. You need to incorporate them with a total approach. Hey, Jason. Great to see you, Jason. Meyer. Hey, Todd. I think the Roundhill W strategy is more sustainable than YMAX because they use swaps and 25% leverage, so you can actually keep up with the underlying. I agree, Mayor. I think that's Ophir, right? If I'm not mistaken. I love them too. All right, but they have tons of maintenance. That's the problem for me. And then also they still don't compare to the triple C's. So if you're gonna put your equity somewhere, you have to put all your money behind one thing to really matter, to really get that compounding, as y'all know. And if you're going to put all your equity behind something, then you can't have 100% maintenance, all right? Then you're not going to have any options. So I concentrate where I do, Meyer, because it gives me the best bang for my buck, the most returns, the most outperformance, while not risking, underperformance in a down market and having high equity to withdraw from and swipe our card to go wherever we want in this world. Okay, Medic, you made it. Happy Labor Day. Great to see you, Medic. Tasher, hey there. Candy, thanks, Todd. Volume seems to be super low. Maybe it's just me. Sorry about that. Let me know, everyone, if my volume is too low. Okay. All right, because I'm definitely yelling into the mic. You're welcome, GKB. Okay, barbecue. Great to see you, Chris. Yep. Every day, all day. That's what we do. The fire lifestyle here. Nick, good morning. I bought the e-guides yesterday and I read them all. Can you give me access to Discord, please? Nick, absolutely. Check your spam folder, everyone. Okay, check your spam folder, Nick. Let me know if you see it in the spam folder, and it should be there. If it's not, message me here, and I'll send it to you right after this video, but most of the time it's just in spam. Because my guides, you get the guides when you buy off my website, but then I send you an official welcome email behind that with all the e-guides again, so you have your total, you have a real copy, and you have the Discord link there and my phone number in that welcome email, okay? Thanks for asking, Nick. All right, because I wanted to tell everyone that. Eric, hey Todd, thanks for what you do. Always, Eric. Thanks for being here, Eric. Bruce, can we see the portfolio? Yes, you can, Bruce. Anytime. Okay, just check out my live section on YouTube. Jared, yes, he will run through it. That's right. Good morning, Nathan, and good to see you, Jared. All right. Bruce, I've always seen the total, but not the positions. Right. Go check out my portfolio, Bruce. It's there anytime. All right. Hey, Fox. Yeah, I hope you're doing well too, brother. Great to see you, Fox. Thanks for welcoming everyone in, as always. Jake, love Cornerstone. It doesn't take the market hits. Drip and NAV is great. Great returns. Absolutely, Jake. Amen to that, right? Enough said. Drop the mic, Jake. Great job. Thanks for commenting. Brandon, got my 9K CLM annual monthly pro rated share. Yeah, Brandon, it's a great dividend, isn't it? And you get that drip on top of the dividend. What's not to like? All right, no one else does that. That's why I had to spread the word on Cornerstone. A couple of members were commenting like, hey, I just got my dividend. Thanks for pounding the table, Todd. You know who you are. I always, have to pound the table. I don't get paid from any of these funds. Just why not share this information that worked with me? I don't give advice. Eric, it's good to see you raising your prices. I happily jump to the $50 to support you, the $50 tier he's talking about for my memberships. Most members buy my e-guides, which gives you Discord on my number, and then they follow along in the YouTube memberships after, and that's how they get those badges by their name. What you learned about Cornerstone alone has been worth it. You and your family are worth the price increase. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. I love you so much, Eric. I love all my members, and I really appreciate you saying that, Eric. Gosh, I really appreciate that. Absolutely. Okay. AP, I'm here for you, Eric, and I had to do it because I don't have the time. But when you say things like that, I'm always here for people who value my time and value me. So I really appreciate you, Eric. Always here for you. AP, it would be nice if in Discord, you have a step-by-step guide for beginners to use as a mind map regarding getting started as a mind map. Okay, AP, I think 1 and 2 is the best way to get, that's how you get the foundation, volume 1 and 2. I'm not sure if anyone really read that. But that's how you get the foundation, AP. And then, volume 3 tells you how to diversify your account. That is a step-by-step. And then volume 7 follows up on that. But as far as like actual step-by-steps, the market is different every day, AP. So that's when you follow along. I see you're not a member, AP. If you were a member, you could just follow what I'm doing in my account, and that's your step-by-step application after you get the e-guides, which, again, to me, the e-guides are enough. But if you are a hands-on person and you like visuals, then you go the next step with the memberships, AP. Because many members have said that, that's all they needed was that, were the e-guides. Some people want more. Marvin, good to see you. Hey, Mom. Great. Patty A is my mom. I love you so much, Mom. Can't wait to see you later today. TJ is also excited to see you. Ancient literature. Been researching and prepping all week. I can't wait to be free. Metalpod, hey. Oh, hey, Metalpod. Yeah, we were just talking today. Great to see you. Okay. I didn't see I have to learn everyone's names, twice over. Stuart, I think CRM and CLF pay 10 cents per share monthly. Yeah, 20% per year, and then that's broken down monthly. Right, Chris. Yeah, Bruce Wang. That's for members. That's correct. Thanks, Chris. Major Sam. Hey, Todd, I joined late. Question, is your E-Trade debit card linked directly to your brokerage or to a cash management account in E-Trade? It's right to my brokerage, Major Sam. Salute to you. Great to see you, Major. Yeah, everything I do is out of margin. Okay. Freddie Bitcoins, car needs to be over 6K pounds. LOL, he knows the tricks to reduce taxes. A business can deduct the cost of a vehicle over 6,000 pounds by using the section 179 deduction and bonus depreciation. Thanks, Freddie. Yeah, I was thinking about getting an SUV, because, that would give you an even bigger deduction, so I'm weighing all those options. I'm trying to figure out, what to do next, so that I can offset some of these dividends and these capital gains that we're getting from the triple C's, because some of these triples were up, 200%, and when I'm trimming them and I'm taking gains, that's all adding to, my tax burden at the end of the year. Thankfully, a lot of these dividends are return of capital and are tax free. Thanks for that comment, Freddie. Thank you. Todd's the man. Okay. Thanks, Freddie. You're too kind. Maddie, what's up, Todd? Thanks for everything you do. No, thank you, Maddie. Thank you for being here. All right. Thanks for the support. Okay. Pat, always great to hear your perspectives. Thank you, Pat. Great to see you, Pat. Love all my members so much. Mr. J Bizzle, we need more videos step by step how you do your puts and naked puts. Yeah, Jay Bizzle, we just did the puts on last week. We did some puts with certain sectors of the market, and you can see a detailed explanation of how I did that one put. And I'm going to go summarize that on Monday as well. So tomorrow. So hope you can make that. Jay Bizzle. All right. Dave Rocket, what option level do you need to sell naked puts? Level 3, Dave Rocket. Supreme, level 3. That's right. Phil AM, good afternoon. Yeah, Dave. So I put a lot of examples in volume 6 for how to sell puts, Jay Bizzle. Good examples. I think they're pretty straightforward, but a lot of people just can't believe that it's almost like a layup. It's almost like free money when you're selling these puts. All right, so we need to get out before I lose my power because I hear the rain. I don't want to lose this live, but selling puts, it really is as straightforward as it says in volume 6. Just trust yourself and then follow along on the next example that I do. And feel free to ask a question, Jay Bizzle, or call me to clarify any questions you may have on selling those puts. Yes, level 3 Supreme. Good afternoon, Phil. Great to see your performance lately. I follow you on Instagram. I believe you've been sending me those Instagram texts, right? Dave, you're welcome. Okay, HKM, naked puts are long-term or leaps are great. Exactly. Naked puts for leaps. Naked puts for 0DT, I can't say the same, unless you're, if you're doing one contract or so, that's fine. It's not too risky, but then you're not making any money. The leaps are the only way to get the most money without the risk. Of course, I've tried it all. I've honed these strategies for over 20 years. I'm telling you, I've tried selling the puts. I've tried selling the calls. I don't know why anyone would do them. Understanding the downsides that can come from them, and I can't unknow that. It's like, the Matrix. You taking the pill, the red pill. Yeah. You just can't unknow it. Okay. Just want to make sure I had that analogy right. Travel Asia, SPY versus SPY versus QQI, basically saying SPY versus SPYI or QQI. Well, I like SPYI better, of course, because it actually pays you a dividend during a downturn. And I like all of them, but I have bigger fish to fry with the funds that we listed with Cornerstone, for example, Travel Asia, because Cornerstone is dripping at the bottom for you in a downturn, whereas SPY doesn't even have a drip at NAV. Plus, it has a bigger dividend. Downdraft. If you have to ask what option level, I suggest not doing options. No, it's a good question. Because a lot of people sell options, but they just don't realize that there's another level to go naked, and then that changes your whole life, okay? Because it lowers your margin, and you're playing without the risk. That's okay. We're all new here. We're all new at some point. It's all love here. Hey, Supreme, live and learn. That's right. Nathan, Pastor Todd is taking us to church today. I appreciate the gospel of how to break the change of wage slavery. Thank you, Nathan. I try my best, okay? Just great to see you. Hey, Greg, Supreme, update your membership on YouTube and let Todd know through email. That's right. If you do upgrade, make sure you email me and let me know that. Hey, Pat, thank you so much for the upgrade. Okay, so I'll enter you in. Please, email me one more time, Pat, okay? I see your upgrade here, but email me with your number so that I can enter that into the SMS text. Once again, hey, Greg, and thanks again, Pat. Thank you, brother. Supreme, you see the post above mine. That's right. Thanks, Supreme. DC, hello, DC. Ikaika, great info as always. Thank you, Ikaika. Aloha, brother. Mahalo to you. All right. Thanks for teaching me, all about, I hope I can learn more about your culture. All right. You and your family. You know who I'm talking about. Chris, when will the next portfolio update be? It'll be tomorrow, most likely, Chris. I think tomorrow morning, hopefully, if it's too crazy, if it's, if we have a lot of action in the morning, obviously, but it looks pretty flat to start. So at some point tomorrow. But a lot of members want to know how I performed over the weekend, on Friday, because I didn't do a video on Friday. I wanted to wait till Monday and Tuesday. I had some stuff that I had to do with the family. And yeah, you saw that we outperformed on Friday, even with all of that margin, okay? And it's, because we play Ulti and YMAX properly, of course, combined with Cornerstone. What do you know? It's a broken record, but, you have to, if something isn't broke, you don't fix it, and you have to keep repeating what does work. Making money should never get boring. Chris, right. Answer that question for you. Raymond, happy Labor Day. Great to see you. Michael, you just bought my e-guides. Okay, thank you, Michael. I will email you back as soon as this live is over. Thank you so much, Michael. And once again, if I already emailed you, because there's so many Michaels, check your spam. Be sure to check your spam for the official welcome email. All right, but these will come to you automatically from the website. Eve Cake, upgraded membership to SMS Portfolio. Thank you, Eve. Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you, Eve. I can't wait to stay up with you and Pat and everyone else who upgrades. Welcome to the next level of, this fire community. We're always trying to outperform, and buying at these points that we buy, the way that I do it is how I get my performance. And you'll see all about that now in these texts, Eve. Okay, Raymond. Of course, that's all there in the e-guides, but then again, putting it into action. Every day the market's different. So I share with you, obviously, the fluid situation in the market. There's going to be a different trade, and you can learn from all these new situations. Raymond, thanks again, Eve. Raymond, if Cornerstone is at the recent highs, and I plan on buying every 2 weeks like a 401k, would boxing it, aka selling short, protect it? Raymond, yes, you can box to protect, but just because it's at the recent highs, I wouldn't do that. The market's up 7% or so for the year. Cornerstone's up 19 because of the 112% of NAV, which we talk about. So 19 minus 112%, that's 7. So we're in line with the indexes, and the premiums are too low for me to box right now. Pierre, hey Todd, I've been watching your show for a couple of months. I'm going to make the jump and purchase your e-guide. Okay, Pierre, well, anytime. I'm here for you. Thanks for watching, Pierre, okay? Always here if you need me. Aaron, I got here late, but we'll watch it all. Thank you, Aaron. Okay, Alba. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Todd. I am new here. What is the triple C, Alba? Alba, that's all in Volume 7, and, that's obviously the leverage funds I use. I use a bunch of different leverage funds, longs and shorts, with Cornerstone. And then also, Volume 7 teaches you how I use Yieldmax and Defiance and Roundhill and all those other funds in up and down markets. Okay, it's the most comprehensive guide that I have. Alice, hey Todd, happy Monday to you, Alice. DNM, during a down market, are you using triple shorts? Of course, but I'm mainly using put options, which we talk all about in Volume 5. Okay, that's another thing that other YouTubers don't mention, by the way, is how to protect with options. I couldn't find any channels on it, so I had to start my own channel because no one's talking about margin, no one's talking about Cornerstone, no one's talking about put options, no one's talking about selling put options properly, no one's talking about how to get massive gains with the triple C's without the risk of having to hunt your next trade. So for all these reasons and more, I had to start the channel. Okay, I see your message, Nick. I'll get to you right after this live. Okay, all right, having a great time, just going through these comments. So great question, DNM. Peter, how would you allocate among Cornerstone? 50-50 CRF, CLM? Thanks. I do go 50-50 CRF, CLM, Peter, because that lowers your maintenance and then gives you lower concentration risk. So yes, you have to. I used to go 100% Cornerstone, but now we know to spread it. We have all the allocations in my portfolio. You can see it. There's a sweet spot to using Cornerstone and the triples, because you have to incorporate Yieldmax and Ulti too. The reason why I have Ulti in, and I never even said this, but my strategy with Ulti, thanks for sticking around till the end of the video, is to just grow our dividends to a point where we snowball so fast, we get so much income. You know, we could be making over $1 million in dividends if I wanted to, but I'm trying to be conservative. And it's going to get to where our accounts get so big just from growing our margin and then paying off our debt with our dividends. We're going to have bigger amounts of dividends. We're going to snowball our dividends through Ulti, right? Through YMAX and Ulti. The other funds that we have give good dividends, but we snowball it through YMAX and Ulti. And then that's going to get to a point where the snowball turns into an avalanche and it rolls down the hill, taking out everything in its place. And we're just going to make more money than we ever dreamed. I know that sounds hard to believe, but I've done the math in a spreadsheet. Me and my dad did it, last year, and I shared it with my members just by reinvesting in Ulti and everything else that we do here. Think about it. Once we get to $1 million in dividends, $2 million in dividends, we just take out a couple $100,000 in margin debt. We're going to pay down the margin so fast, so there's no risk except for the holdings, and that's why we diversify. And then we're going to grow even if the market goes sideways because we keep paying down our margin so fast through the dividends. So that's how you grow even in a down market. It's with these dividends once they snowball with Ulti, all right? And that's the way I use Ulti. But again, I combine it still with things that give you days gains, okay? Days gains and minimize drawdowns in a down market, which you saw in today's video. Go check out the whole video if you haven't seen it. Okay, so Aaron, that's what I do, long story short, with the allocations, and that's what I do with Ulti as well. Freddie, highly recommend joining the channel. It pays for itself, kind of like Todd's strategy. Thank you, Freddie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, these are all, we're making so much money with these dividends. These are all small prices. I mean, it's small prices to pay, for such, and in my opinion, valuable information that took me 20 years to experience. I had to lose a lot of money, as my friend Mike always says. We had to lose a lot of money together learning this margin strategy that we developed in college, pretty much, with just day trading. Okay, you can watch his channel and see what he did. He's just the extreme version of me. I hope he's watching right now. Matt, okay, different strategies in bull markets at highs versus bear markets at lows. That's right, Matt. There are different strategies, and we have to make sure we're incorporating them all in a balanced fashion. Thank you so much, Freddie, for that compliment. I appreciate you, Freddie. Aaron, DNM, he explains it very well in his e-guides. Thank you so much, Aaron. It's great to see you, by the way, Aaron. BTC Force, no margin that can't be paid by the next divvy. Right, exactly. Davey Crockett, upgraded to the SMS portfolio trades. Thank you, Davey. Oh, man, I really appreciate my members, showing all the support today. It feels like an outpouring because it's been a week since I've been with y'all publicly. So I just appreciate all my members continuing to show that support. And Davey, I hope you enjoy the service. You're really going to get an inside scoop into, how I make my daily decisions with my portfolio. And then, of course, I update them in the YouTube members' videos. But some members want it, that day. They want to see how I'm doing this in between videos. So hope you enjoy that, Davey. I'll see you soon. Mr. Ricky, CLF, CLM, CRF, CLM are not supported on Robinhood. That's right. No closed-end funds there on Robinhood, unfortunately. That's why I stick with E-Trade Fidelity. Henrik, thanks for your work. Here in Europe, only professionals are allowed trading in ETFs in your portfolio. On top, we professionals get only ×2 margin at 20% interest rate, not ×4. We are doomed, Henrik. No. I hear what you're saying, Henrik, but, at least I don't ever use my ×4, right, Henrik? You get ×4 of purchasing power, and I've used. Let me just sit down here. I've used ×4 of my purchasing power, but it's no way to live. We're just discussing that in Discord today, and so you don't want to use the ×4. ×2 is all you need, Henrik. Okay. So don't worry about it. Stay conservative, keep being disciplined, keep chipping away, and eventually your dividends are going to snowball. I hope I'm not talking too close to the mic, but I had to sit. So don't worry, Henrik. Okay, you can still do a lot with ×2. Own nothing and be happy. Right. The famous Klaus Schwab line. Thanks, Henrik, for all your support, always being there. AP Silverliner, good afternoon. You are the GOAT. Thank you, Silverliner. It's so great seeing you, SL. I know you've been here since the beginning. Thanks again, Silver. Alba, Henrik, you can open up an account with IBKR to get all of it. Thank you, Alba, for sharing that information with Henrik. Once again, this is stuff that we also share on Discord. We have a brokerage specifics channel. Okay, so it tells you who has the special drip for Cornerstone and who has what margin specifics here in the brokerage specifics channel right here where my mouse is. Okay, a wealth of information here. It's almost too good to be true. The information that we have here with life hacks. I mean, none of this stuff is watered down. Okay, my members here are sharp. They're bright. They're successful, and I learn a lot from my members too, okay? All things margin related have to respond to this comment. It says, I didn't want to assume the info was better from the man himself. Thanks, Todd. Of course, price discovery. Yeah, because we're talking with Viking here about he doesn't believe you get 4 to 1, even though I believe he has my e-guides. A lot of members have my e-guides, and they just can't believe that you get 4 to 1. I think a lot of the discrepancy is, first of all, you have to have over 25K in your account at E-Trade, for example. But second of all, it says day trading only, and that confuses members. I still hold my margin overnight. So for whatever that's worth, you can Viking, go check out my past videos from when I started out on YouTube. I had way more than 50% leverage. Okay, you can see those past videos and how I held overnight. Okay, so hope that helps. And and Pastor Ray, is this holding the positions overnight also? Yes, I'm holding my positions overnight. You just don't want to use the whole 4 to 1. Why risk a margin call? And hopefully Henrik appreciates that. And even Henrik, if you were to get the times 4 with IBKR, you don't want to use it all. Okay, but that's still great information. Alba, thank you so much. Love this community. Okay, where was I? Okay. Gosh, there's quite a few here. Okay. Rose, love the SMS service. Hey, Rose. Thank you so much for all your support lately. Okay, with my health and getting back to health and, figuring out what pricing to use with everyone. Thanks for all of your input, Rose. Glad you're liking it. Drum, hey, Todd, hope all is well. Do you or any of your members know if IBKR changed their mind on doing drip at NAV on the C's? I don't know, Drum. Please check our Discord. And you can ask there, Drum. SL, that was the closest thing to a rant by you, Todd. Thank you, SL. I mean, yeah, I have to sometimes be human. A lot of YouTube videos, they just edit things out and they just give you the brass, they give you the facts, the details, and not necessarily a strategy, and no color on how they've honed these strategies over the years. This is still a personal thing, okay? This is a journey that I'm on, and it's really important to know that, I am still a human, okay? And I'm trying to be as transparent with my members as I can, not only on my portfolio, but how I'm growing the YouTube channel, all right? Y'all have all seen this happen from the ground up. That's why I have to change my number, or at least, do away with it after next month. I've been trying to be transparent with everything, the price increases, everything, and y'all have supported me the whole way, and I appreciate y'all. The Encourage Network, newbie to ULTY YMAX, thanks for all the education. Yeah, you're welcome, network, we'll say. AP, Todd, I purchased your guides and joined Discord many months ago. Do I still need to upgrade to follow all of your trades, or am I grandfathered into these updates? AP, thanks for the question. Well, YouTube is separate. So when you go to YouTube over here and you go to the membership section, that's separate, all right? So a lot of members bought my guides, and then they're grandfathered in with my phone number and with Discord for life. And that's an incredible value because a lot of people charge for their Discord. They charge lots of money even. I don't charge anything for Discord, not for the rights offering announcement or anything. And you have my number, AP. And so what a lot of members like to do is go the next step and follow me, AP, but that's under the YouTube paywall, okay? So they control that whole thing, AP. I cannot control that. Thanks for the question. Hey, Knight, new here. What are the triple C's? The triples and Cornerstone. Alba, is triple C mean CLM and CRF? Yes, those are the C's, Alba. I know you upgraded to membership, Alba, but that's, of course, always in Volume 4 and Volume 7. I don't know if you bought the guides, but I know you have a membership. Victor, hey, Todd, from Johannesburg. Oh, wow. How cool is that, Victor? Great to see you, Victor. I hope you're enjoying it out there in Johannesburg. Sorry I missed most of the live. That's okay, Richard. And I've always wanted to go to Johannesburg. Please let me know how that is, Victor. Lex, this is my first live. Happy to be here with you, Todd, and the UWI team. Hey, Lex, great to see you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you too. All right, glad you could make it. Freddie Bitcoins, upgraded membership to weekly portfolio updates. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you so much, Freddie. I appreciate all the comments today and the support. I can't wait to see you there, Freddie. Chris, thank you for your time and experience. Fire Labor Day special, dropping pure gold, feeding the minds of the masses. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. That's sweet, and I appreciate you. Chris and my mom and my family, TJ, I just appreciate y'all so much. AP, TJ, you want to come say hi? I think he's playing his Minecraft. Anyway, thanks again, family. Y'all are my 3 family members that y'all know that I talk to all the time. Hey, buddy. Hey, man, how's your Minecraft going? It's good, going well? Yeah? Okay, good. He's going to be doing this soon, okay? I remember when he was at the Yieldmax event in New York, he had a great time. All right, so wave by, and we'll talk more about that soon. And then after my immediate family here, it's you guys that are my family, okay? Because my family pretty much alienated me. Anytime I talk about finance or the Bible with my family, it goes south, okay? They're, quintessential, standard, I don't know, America. I don't know what to say. I get this response from a lot of people when you talk about money, margin, the Bible, not necessarily in the Bible, just God. Because once you make all this money, you have all this time, you start to think about the next step, okay? And trying to get the most out of this life, and you start realizing how things move and work. Anyway, it's a journey of self-discovery. When you're making money and you have the time, you can only naturally start looking more into the Bible and your existence. And again, something that my family full of engineers and teachers do not like to discuss, if you can imagine. I tried bringing this up at work, this stuff at work. When I used to work as my dad was a chemical engineer, and I worked under him in project controls and finance, starting out of college. And it was like talking to a wall, trying to talk to my coworkers about getting ahead and getting extra money with the paycheck. They were not trying to hear it. They have their 401k, they have their guy. They don't want to hear any advice from me. I'm like, I'm not trying to give you advice. I'm just saying buy some UPRO, because that used to be my first strategy, and it used to make me so much money. Anyway, but then we couldn't get the qualifying income with UPRO. That's when I had my aha moment to have a house for TJ, had to have the dividends too. The banker said he would use 2 years of qualifying income with my dividends, and my margin wouldn't show up on a credit check. So that's how I engineered my income, okay? To live free from 9 to 5, truly. Okay. AP, thanks for your reply, Todd. You'll join the membership. There are many options, and yes, you prefer hands-on. Which is the best option for me to join? I had to do all those options, AP, because the first option, 10 a month, that's for monthly updates. 1 or 2 times a month plus emergencies. The 20 a month is for those who just want the SMS RO announcement because they don't want to follow Discord. Some of them don't like chat rooms and stuff like that, so they just wanted my text for the 20 a month for the RO announcement. The 35 a month is for weekly videos. The 44 a month was just for texting. Some people just want to text me and nothing else. They don't want to call me. They want to be private. So I just started that 44 a month. I need to take that away probably, because members say that's too many choices. And then the 50 a month is just all trades plus all videos. Every tier in YouTube gives you the perks from the previous tier. The 100 a month is not important for those who bought my e-guides. That's for people who did not want to buy my e-guides. They wanted Discord separately. Hope that makes sense. AP, okay? Thanks for asking. There's a glare in my screen. SL, I found Cornerstone because of you, Todd. Day trading and Cornerstone are my main ways of making money. But there are a few good YieldMax funds, GDXY, NFLY. Yeah, those have been doing great, Silverliner. I own both of those. I own all the YieldMax funds for that matter. T-Mac, for a guy who has tried everything over the years and finally found your approach, this is amazing. Finally winning, Todd, and scaling as well. Beautiful thing. It is, T-Mac. Beautiful thing. And love the name, by the way. When we had T-Mac here in Houston, he was a great player. And but that's neither here nor there. I appreciate you saying that, T-Mac. Justin, good morning, Justin. Great to see you, Justin. SL, Todd, I heard you are making an appearance on Retire on Dividends. Looking forward to it. Yeah, SL. I don't even know how you heard about that, but yeah, I am. And well, he has to, set up a time with me. I know that he has a lot of people lined up. And so whenever he gets free time, I told him just to pencil me in, and we'll go from there. Thanks, SL. Richard. Yeah, Silver. John. Does this investment strategy still work for people who are not able to access drip at NAV? Yes, because John, I didn't use the drip at NAV in 2021 and I still outperformed the market. Okay. And 2021, you know, we had 40%, we had 40% plus gains and I still wasn't dripping and I should have, but we still outperformed with 100% gain in 2021, John, without the special drip. So for all my Canadian members, we have a Canadian channel here at Discord, as y'all know, this Canadian channel down low. And they always ask me, you know, can we outperform, you know, without the drip in Cornerstone? Of course you can, because you still get the day's gain. You still get the dividends. You still get the RO opportunity, which is the biggest advantage of Cornerstone, in my opinion. Okay. Well, getting a bit exhausted here. This is a lot of comments here. Okay. But I appreciate them. Okay. So there's your answer, John. Ryan, what is triple C's again? Triples, triple leverage, and the C's, Cornerstone. Also, just check out volume 7. I promise you, it's worth the read. Victor, can't wait to be a member, Todd. And you can see, many of my members have already attested to that. Go look at Capital G's comment at the beginning. Once again, I appreciate you, Capital. And you know, we have a testimonial section on Discord as well. Okay, Freddie. Victor, you can't wait to be a member once again. Can't wait for you as well, Victor. Look forward to seeing you. Freddie, Ryan, it's his thesis in one of his e-guides. That's right. Exactly, Freddie. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Ryan. Okay, SL, Todd, do you have any thoughts on the market if target is taken away? Can you please clarify? Pastor Todd has a great congregation. Thank you, SL. I appreciate you, SL. Can you please clarify what you mean by if the target is taken away, if target's taken away? HKM, you look 30 and you've been doing this for 20 years. I hate covered calls and love them puts. And yes, the leaps are the best. Thank you, HKM. Yeah, I'll be 40 next year. And I started this all when I was 19 in college. All right, I started this E-Trade account in 2005. It's all about just constantly challenging your mind and, you know, also trying to stay in shape and, you know, stay healthy, eat right and try to exercise. Although it's been really hard when you have a family, you know, so, but thank you, HKM, so much. Wholesaling Tony, good afternoon. Where can I buy your ebook? Hey, Tony, you can just go to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas, and it's here under the featured products. You can go to shop and you can see more about my e-guides there. You can also email me at akintodd48@gmail.com. Here are the bundles, for example. All right. Get to a screen so that we can all read these comments clearly. Okay. Thanks for your question, Tony. All right, Jake, just an FYI, the SMS came after 5 to 6 minutes after you started the live stream. I'm not sure if that's a problem with my messaging service, Jake. Yeah, sometimes, you know, I guess maybe, you know, the area I'm in, it can be slow. You know, thankfully when I do members alerts, you know, for the trades that we do, it's not like, you know, you need to get them at that time and then we get out at that later in that day or something. It's not that active of a trading service. It's, you know, it's things that won't run away from you. But sometimes the SMS can have delay, like when it's raining or something. So I apologize, Jake. Major, Pastor Todd, I love it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Y'all are too kind. Matthew, I feel stuck on Robinhood and Cornerstone's not an option. Is there another suggestion to attempt replacing Cornerstone? Also, thank you for your content. Love the show. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, we have a brokerage specifics channel here in Discord should you ever need it, okay? It's a very popular channel, I would say. We have an alternative anchors channel, if I didn't say that before. This alternative anchors channel right here has everything you need, all right? Because we have a lot of Robinhood members here in Discord. Okay, Matthew? Raymond, you're welcome. If someone's just starting out but missed the quality of the C's, could it be problematic to just keep the funds in T-bills? You're never going to get hurt in T-bills, but it's just hard to outpace inflation, Raymond. So that's why I'm always trying to stay invested. Even now, I would, you know, be buying some Cornerstone, be buying some of these funds, and then you buy in positions and you buy on the way down, Raymond. Hey, DM, welcome to the monthly portfolio update. Welcome, DM. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I'll probably be seeing you and everyone tomorrow. Okay, a video for everyone tomorrow. Okay, and obviously when I do the members trades or something, and I summarize things, it'll be going for different tiers. If I'm doing insurance trades like options, hedges, or something, that'll be for the 20 and up. Excuse me. Mike, Todd, you know so much. Are there any strategies you've come across that you feel curious about but haven't had the chance to explore deeply yet? Well, I don't know, Mike, because I guess I wouldn't know the answer to that, but I think I've tried them all, Mike. I mean, I've tried everything under the sun when it comes to investing, okay? Every little trick you can imagine, the dividend capture strategy, whatever you want to think of. I think I've tried it, but if y'all have any ideas, let me know, Mike. Thanks for the question. Hey, Daniel, great to see you, Daniel. That's Amber, everyone. Daniel's been getting great performance. So proud of you, Daniel. James, best thing I've done in a while is get your e-guides and join Discord. Thank you, James. I really appreciate you saying that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Kyle, hey, Todd. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for everything. Hey, you too, Kyle. I'm doing great. Great to be back with all the members and everyone in the community because it's been about a week and I missed y'all so much. And it's also great to be outperforming the market even on a down day, even with all that margin leverage, even with Ulti and YMAX underperforming the market. Well, YMAX did not underperform it, Ulti did on Friday. We still outperformed, all right? So that's what makes me feel the best, and I just want my members to do the same. Daniel, you upgraded your membership and YouTube as well, and you bought the full e-guides. Finding Todd's strategies on Cornerstone with the free YouTube videos was well worth the price of the full guides. Appreciate you. Thanks. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you taking the time to write that, Daniel. That means a lot to me, and can't believe how great my community is, okay? James, what do you think about balancing all of your dividend income funds with the same dollar amount with Salty to offset any NAV erosion or capital loss? Thanks. Yeah, we've talked about that, James. Ulti and Salty. I guess the problem with that is you're not getting capital gains. We need best of both worlds. Compounding is the ninth wonder of the world. So you got to get, and what if something happens with Yieldmax? What if something happens with our dividend funds? Some legal change? Just, you never know. What if something goes insolvent? Who knows? I don't think there are those kinds of risks, but what if those kinds of risks happen? And then also, again, what if we don't compound? What if we get a period of 5 or 10 years in the market where the returns are mediocre and the volatility is low? All right, where are we going to get our income from? All right, we have to get it from things like Cornerstone to keep its dividend for the same for the year, but also we have to be able to see the sectors of the market, see what's working, see what's not working, because we have all of the sectors in the portfolio. And we have to get capital gains too. So that's why every holding in that portfolio is essential. A lot of members say, gosh, there's so many holdings. Do I need them all? You don't need them all, but as you grow, you should bolt them on, in my opinion, because you see how they work in a down market. And total diversification is key. It's the only free lunch, as Kramer says. Where was I? TJ Silverliner says, hey to you. He says, hey, Silver. We just watched Long John Silver, by the way. It was a great movie, and I hope he appreciates that someday. Hey, Raymond. Raymond says, hey, TJ, too. Raymond says, hey. TJ says, hey, Raymond. Fur Frenzy says, hey, TJ. No, Fur Frenzy. Yeah, that's right. Good job. Dwayne, thanks, Todd. Love you, bro. I love you too, Dwayne. Great to see you, Dwayne. Thanks for being such a long-time member. Thanks for, all the texts, just everything. Thanks for being there, Dwayne. Henrik, I'm just overwhelmed by my comments. My members, I love them so much. Henrik, how can I DM you for this topic, please? Henrik, you have my text. You have me on WhatsApp, Henrik. Just go ahead and text me or call me. I don't mind. Just text me before you call and let me know, and we'll set up a time. Brian, welcome to the weekly portfolio updates. Welcome, Brian, okay? Great to see you, Brian. Thanks for upgrading, and I hope you enjoy it, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Brian, you upgraded from the 20 to 35. Oh, okay, to weekly. Thank you, Brian. All right, please email me after this one more time and text me your number, and I'll add you to the SMS service. I know you're in the 20 already, but I'll add you in just in case we do alerts for 35 as well. John, thank you, Unconventional, very much for answering my question above and taking the time to get to all these questions. Of course, John. All right, that's all I have. I have nothing but time. People think I should be out here not doing YouTube videos, but honestly, I have all this information. I love sharing it, And I love helping others because you have all this money and then you have all this time. What do you do with it? And we don't like to go buy Ferraris and stuff like that here because that's just a way to make you broke and keep you broke. So I like just doing simple things with my family. I like to eat a lot. I like to go to parks a lot. It's raining today. I like to have a schedule, a little bit of a schedule. And so I'm here, and I have all this time, and I wouldn't want to, spend it anywhere else, okay? Because I see y'all appreciate this, and no one else appreciates what I say in the world. So that's why I spend so much time here. It's just hard to keep all this in. It's like knowing a secret and you're just dying to tell somebody, about the Cornerstone drip or about how to use margin to get ahead. It's too much to keep inside. Max, how is Volume 7 different than 4 and 5? Volume 7 wasn't available when I bought your guys. Yeah, Max, great question. Volume 7 is different because in Volume 4, we talk about Cornerstone. Volume 5, it's how to hedge. Volume 7 is how to supercharge your account with Cornerstone and these other funds that I use to get maximum capital gains. All right, so Cornerstone gives you that ability, but you have to diversify. You can't have it all in Cornerstone, obviously. So that's basically the way to get it all. Get the capital gains with the dividends. It's like a total approach. And we have some updates in there as well, Max, like, how to use 0 DTE, puts for protection, et cetera, et cetera. Some learnings that I had from Volume 5, I put in Volume 7. SL, if tariffs are taken away, the autocorrect is correct. That's right, so SL. B, you went hard on Misty. Feel good long term, but what are your thoughts on how it will perform? No clue, B. We don't have a crystal ball. All we do is prepare for both directions, and the strategy is set. Nothing changes, and we just collect our dividends, get our gains with the market as we go. But if the market falls, we don't fall as hard, or we fall in line with the market. And if you employ the strategies from Volume 7, then it's really hard to lose with all this margin in a down market. All right, and then you make 2 to 3 times the market on the way back up because of the nature of these vehicles. But you have to do it right. Just read Volume 7 closely, carefully. Silver, autocorrected isn't correct. Yeah. I know what you mean by the tariffs. Whatever happens with the tariffs, up or down. If we get a big fall, I'm buying the dip. And if we keep going higher, well, then we're ready. SL. So Richard, getting out hiking has to be the best way to get fit and clear your mind. Absolutely, that's one of the best ways to do it. And I think it keeps your mind strong. With investing, you got to have that balance. And exercise the demons, so to speak. Because balance is everything here. This is a life strategy. This is a total strategy to not only outperform with dividends and capital gains, but to live out of your account and have, well-being so you can sleep at night, not betting all your account on one trade. I used to do that before and it was hard to sleep. So this is the best way to do it along with some exercise. All right. So again, I hope you're enjoying this video, everyone. SL, right. And I had a great time with y'all. In the comments today. Email me for my e-guides at aikentod48@gmail.com if you need help living financially free out of your brokerage account. We're getting over $800,000 in dividends, and we're outperforming the market. We're up 23% approximately year to date if you're rounding. The S&P is only up 8, for example. So we're doing all this, with dividends and capital gains. All right, and if you want to learn more about it, email me or head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com. All right, again, I really enjoyed this video. I missed y'all. It's been a while. I'll probably do a video sometime later in the week, okay? Remember, tonight's the final night, for the prices as they are. I'm going to have to raise prices. And then next month, I'm going to be taking my number away. So just keeping that all, trying to be as transparent as possible. I don't want to leave anyone behind. All right, once again, if you like this video, please click like or subscribe. And I'll talk to you soon, everyone, okay? Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.